This is a review of the Thinkorswim trading platform by TD Ameritrade. I have this platform open on my screen right now, and I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of Thinkorswim. So the first thing I'm going to point out is the fact that right now I'm in a simulated trading environment, meaning this is paper trading. It's not real money that's being risked here. And that's one of the things that we like about Thinkorswim, the fact that not only can you make real investments in stocks and options, but you can use a paper trading account. It's a good way to be able to practice making trades or investments, kind of get used to the motions for how do you actually execute trades, how do you monitor trades without risking real money. And so that's one of the features we definitely like about Thinkorswim. Another thing that we like about it is that the platform itself is free. So it's a pretty sophisticated platform as far as having a lot of capabilities, and yet it's totally free to use. It's free also to set up an account at TD Ameritrade. The cost of transactions is not free across all different security types, and that's something that we'll talk about a little bit later in this review. But the platform itself is free. Most brokerages offer free trading platforms, and so it's not too unusual, but considering the features that are available, it's just one of the pluses about using Thinkorswim. Another thing that we like is the fact that within one single account, you can trade stocks, options, and futures. And there's not a lot of brokerages that offer this. So right now, for example, you can see in my account, in this dummy account, this paper trading account, that I have two stock positions open right here, one for Apple and one for GPN, Global Payments. I could trade futures in this very same account. In fact, I'll do it right now. This is the micro E-mini futures for the S&P 500. So I can go in here and place an order to buy a futures position, and it shows right up here in this same account where I have my stock positions. And the same is true for options. If I go in and I buy an option here, I'll do it right here. This is all dummy money, so it's pretty easy to make these decisions. And so it's pretty quick and easy. But you can see this is also showing up in the same account. That order just got filled, and you can see in one single account, I have stocks, options, and futures. And that's I only know of one other brokerage that offers something like that. The reason it can be beneficial, for one, is just easy to keep track of all your trades, particularly if you like to trade a lot of different types of securities, but also it helps with the compounding capability. So if you're trading with an edge and you actually are profitable over time with your trades, then it's to your benefit to keep all your trading activity in a single account because it allows it to compound more quickly in terms of account growth. So that's a feature that we really like. Now, it does require a separate application to be able to trade futures with TD Ameritrade. So like when you open an account with TD Ameritrade and you download the Thinkorswim trading platform, you're not able to just trade futures out of the gate. So you do have to fill out a separate application for that. If it gets approved, then you'll be able to trade those futures in the same account. And the same is true with the options. You have to apply for options trading privileges. Okay, now, one of the things that we don't like so much about Thinkorswim is the fact that when you first sign into Thinkorswim, it can be a little bit overwhelming and confusing. So right now in Thinkorswim, you've seen me kind of navigating between these different windows. When you first log in, it's not so simple to figure out what exactly is going on. So first of all, this is a custom layout that we created after kind of seeing the baseline out-of-the-box layout and features available in the software. Now, we love this custom layout and feel that it's just right for us, but it's not something that is just available right out of the gate. And that's something that's that's hard to work with when it comes to Thinkorswim. We do have a link in the description of this video in case you want to access this layout and import it into your version of Thinkorswim for free. But otherwise, it kind of, there's a learning curve involved with understanding all the features, accessing all of them. And, just to mention it, it's got to be hard for the designers of Thinkorswim, for the owners of Thinkorswim, because there's so many features that it's kind of hard to make them all available without it coming off as being kind of overwhelming at first. So I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying it's just one of the drawbacks, I guess, of using Thinkorswim, is that there can be a learning curve. So there's, by default, they have this charts tab as an example, where you see a stock chart. But from here, the very first time you're seeing this, it might be hard to figure out, well, I want to order this. What do I do to actually place an order? I want to buy Apple stock. What do I do now? And so again, that's where there's a bit of a learning curve. This custom grid we created, this custom layout, is intended to make it easier to use this software. And so if you like the look of what's on the screen here, this has a chart up here with a couple of indicators enabled for the daily, the daily chart, where each price bar indicates 1 day of price activity. We have a 1 minute chart for the stock down here. And then we have this ordering window over here that's a pretty good visual representation and a very easy way to place orders. So you can use that if you think it'll help you with the learning curve. Another element, as far as once you get started, that's a little bit challenging, is that in this section right here, you can see my positions, right? These are my current account positions. But when you first sign in, this isn't showing. And at least speaking for myself, I can say when I first signed in and I placed a trade, I just felt like it was hard to figure out where do I go to just see my open positions. And so you have to kind of customize it. This particular thing is not too hard to customize, but it's also not intuitive. The way to add this current account is you go to this plus sign down here and you add a gadget and you add a watch list, which again, that's not necessarily intuitive to me. And then you click this button right here to choose the type of watch list, and you choose current account positions. And that's what you need to do to enable yourself to be able to see the current account. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this gadget now. Now there's another thing worth mentioning that is not the greatest about Thinkorswim. And I'm bringing up these things that I don't feel are the greatest. And keep in mind, I use Thinkorswim regularly. We really like the platform, but I just want to make sure it's transparent what some of the drawbacks are of using this particular software. And one of them is that Thinkorswim, I'm on the TD Ameritrade website where you can download the Thinkorswim software. It's different depending on exactly which version you use. So right now on my screen for this review, I have the desktop trading platform. Now, if I were to open the Thinkorswim web platform, that is completely different. It's a totally different look and feel. It's as if it's a completely different software. And the mobile is similar. It's just, and it's challenging, of course, with mobile to make it have all the same features and functionality as desktop. And so I can understand that, but it is different. And it's almost like you have to learn a different software to be able to use the mobile version of Thinkorswim. There are a lot of the same features and capabilities. It's just they're in different places, and it's just like learning a different software, basically. So that's one of the drawbacks, I would say, to Thinkorswim. That said, once you find a version that you like, such as maybe this desktop version, once you learn it, you might love it, in which case it doesn't really matter what the other versions are like because you're only using one version. Now, let's see, some other things as far as the review goes. I'm going to talk about charts. So the charts I like quite a bit in Thinkorswim. They have a lot of features. So for one, they're very easy to manage. You can, scroll in and out to change the look of it. You can just go left or right pretty easily. You can modify what the time frame is that you're looking at, both in terms of the time that's reflected by the candle, the price candle here, but also the time as far as how far back this goes. And you can do that just by clicking this little button right here This is where you can edit the time frame. You can see there's an alert enabled here, and that's something that's very easy to do and can be helpful. Like if you're watching a number of stocks and you're only interested in investing in the stocks if they reach a particular price point, or respective price point for each one, you can easily set alerts by right-clicking and going down to create alert. And then you just specify the exact price where you want the alert to be set. And once it gets there, it gives you a notification. They're very easy to edit too. They just have this little X here, and you can click it to close it. I also just generally like the way that the icons are displayed in Thinkorswim. Like I have an alert set at 173.25, and you can see that it's displayed right exactly on the chart where it would actually fall. And so it's really helpful from a visual perspective to see the alert reflected on the chart in this way. So I'm going to close this, and just like that, I've canceled the alert. Very easy to manage. You can see they also have a nice indicator here of these. This is an indicator of an earnings date. So you can, once they get scheduled in the future, you can see an indication that it's coming up in the future. And that can be helpful when you're considering any given trading decisions to see exactly what's coming up as far as earnings announcements. This green icon is for an ex-dividend date. And so again, when you're making investing decisions, these things can be helpful to be aware of. When you're looking back at history too, they show the amount, and that can be helpful depending on exactly what your strategies are or how you incorporate that information into your own investing decisions. You can see also that there are some icons on the screen here that reflect indicators and studies. So on this particular screen, we have the ATR indicator. It stands for average true range. It's a measure of, what's the average amount that the price has been traveling each day or each period over the last couple of weeks. And you can see how this changes over time. So some people use that indicator. These three lines represent a Keltner channel, and some investors use Keltner channels to make their trading decisions. It's one of the indicators that we really like here at Stock Market Guides, based on all the statistical research that we've done on different investing strategies that have a back-tested performance that's favorable and profitable. But these are just a couple of examples of indicators. There are tons of indicators and studies. So if you right-click the chart and go to studies and go to add study, there's so much. So you saw that big menu that just popped up. That's just the categorization layer. So that's not the actual studies. Each of these has a submenu with its own studies. So there's tons and tons and tons of studies. What I've found is that a lot of trading platforms don't have as exhaustive a list of studies as you can find in Thinkorswim. Right here, for example, this TTM squeeze, that's just one that I remember personally that was available in Thinkorswim that I couldn't find in many other trading platforms. That's just one example. You can also access the studies by going up to the All Studies section, and then they're listed here alphabetically. So tons of studies, and that can be helpful. I mean, it just depends what exactly your goal is. If you already know the studies you want, then it's possible that Thinkorswim already caters to them since they have such a huge assortment of them. If you don't know which studies you want, then this might be a good way to go in and kind of see what's available, because it's such a good archive of different studies, and it's categorized in these different ways. Trend studies, volatility studies. So, depending on the type of investor that you feel you are, or the types of strategies that you feel inclined to gravitate toward, you can kind of look those up and get an idea of those by just browsing through that list. Okay, now another thing that we like about Thinkorswim is it gives you the ability to do something called OCO orders. And OCO stands for one cancels the other. Now, it's helpful for active traders who, when they are in a trade, they like to have both a profit target and a stop loss order in place. And so I'll show you an example here. Here we have Apple, and I have, in this dummy account, I have 100 shares of it. Let's say that I want to have exit orders, both at the profit target that I have in mind and at the stop loss that I have in mind. I can set that up here. So I'll go ahead and do it now. From this is called the active trader window here. For the template, you just change it to OCO. For the time in force, you can set it to whatever you want, either just for one day or good until canceled. And let's say that I want the stop loss to be $1 away from the current price. So you set the offset to 100. That's the same as saying $1 away. And now I simply scroll in here and set my profit target where I want it to be. Maybe I want my profit target to be $1 away as well. So let's say 175.87. I just scroll up here to 175.87. I just point and click right there. And you can see now that I have both an exit, a sell order, a sell limit order right here where the profit target is. And I also have a stop order in place at the stop loss. So the current price is right here. And I'm saying if the price goes up to here, I want it automatically sold for a profit. If the price goes down to here, I want it automatically sold as a stop, to just exit the order before it could go any lower. Not all trading platforms cater to that sort of order type. Most trading platforms allow you to have limit orders and market orders. Of course, you can buy or sell, but this is the OCO order is a nice feature that not all of them cater to, and it's pretty easy to set up using this active trader window. So if the price were to come up and hit this profit target, and the sell limit order got filled and locked in your profit, this stop order automatically gets canceled. You don't have to manually try to remember to go back and close this order. And the other benefit of those OCO orders is that you have two sell orders, but they don't take any extra purchasing power to have in effect. Even though it's two orders, it only counts as one order's worth of purchasing power. And so it's kind of a direct offset of your stock position. So again, it's a cool feature about Thinkorswim that not all trading platforms have. Speaking of this active trader window, we love how easy it is to place orders with this feature. So you can place orders kind of the normal way. And if you've used other trading platforms, you may know what I'm talking about. And I'll bring it up here. You have to type in the shares, the symbol. You kind of have to manually go through one field at a time, make sure it's all set up properly. You have to manually type in the exact price you want. You might have to go back and forth between this window and the stock chart window. It's, to me, and each trader is different. Some traders prefer that, and that's what they're used to, and that's fine. Thinkorswim, as I just showed you, caters to that. But for some people, including me, it just seems a little burdensome to go one field at a time and try to figure all that out. Whereas with this window, you do have to make sure that the quantity is correct. But if the quantity is correct, let's say I want to buy 100 shares. If you just want to buy them at market, you just simply click this button. It's just that simple. You do have to have a day, time, and force to do that. But that is a very fast way to buy Apple shares. Or let's say you want to buy a limit order. Like you only want to buy the shares if they get down to 174.65. As long as you know that quantity is correct, you want to make sure whether the time and force is the way you want it. Do you want it just this order open just for the day or as a standing order? But once you know those things, you just drag. I'm not even dragging anything. You just point and click actually. So I'm just moving my mouse and just clicked right there and the order's in. It's so quick and simple. And now let's say I want to edit it. Let's say, I'm concerned the price isn't going to come down and fill my order and I really want to get in. I pointed at this, I clicked it, and I dragged it up to there. And just like that, my order's edited. That was 1 second, 2 seconds maybe. Very fast and easy to manage orders through this active trader window. Now, one of the things that is not the greatest about Thinkorswim, and it depends on the type of investor you are as to whether this matters to you or not, but the speed at which they do data updates is not the greatest. So it's kind of displayed here in this platform. So right now, Apple stock is on my screen. Apple is a stock where there's constantly transactions pouring through. And if you watch this screen and watch for how often it updates, it looks like it's updating every 2 seconds or so. So it's kind of, every 2 seconds there's movement. And if we were to watch an actual, like a real-time feed of the data coming in, it would be updating much faster than that. Now, if you're a long-term investor, that doesn't matter to you. You don't care if it's only updated every 2 seconds. If you're a swing trader, it probably doesn't matter very much to you. You're going to be holding the position for like a week anyway. So the movement of price in a couple of seconds may not make any difference to you. If you're a day trader, though, or in particular a scalper, that might pose a problem for you. That might make this not as good of a trading platform for that purpose, because if you're a day trader or scalper, you need to make very fast decisions a lot of times, and it's almost like you're missing some information because it's just only updating every 2 seconds. So you're missing things. It's taking longer than you'd like to get updates. And that could pose a challenge depending on exactly what your strategy is for day trading or scalping. Now, there are day traders who they don't actually need the data to update that quickly, but some are relying on split-second decisions, and Thinkorswim might not be a good choice for you if that's the type of trading that you're doing. There are other features. I'm not going to go over every feature of the software because a lot of them are standard. So for example, they have a news feed that you can enable. They have watch lists, so you can easily go in and manually create a watch list. You can, they can show you like the top 10 percentage gainers for a day or the top 10 percentage losers. And these are relatively, a lot of these are relatively standard features. They have an options chain, just like almost every other trading platform that accommodates options. They do have a pretty cool scanning tool. Like I just showed you, for example, that you can, over here, you can come in and look at the top gainers or losers of the day. But maybe you have different criteria you're looking for. Maybe there's a particular trading strategy that you have that's based on, a particular study, let's say. Let's say the RSI indicator, the relative strength index. Let's say that you like to make trades when that RSI value meets a particular criteria. So rather than going through stock charts one at a time, taking a list and like going one at a time and looking at their RSI values, you can set up a scan to look for stocks that meet that criteria. You can add filters based on the stock type, the various kind of metrics that can be used to define a stock, or based on studies. And not only that, you could even write custom studies. Like they have a coding language that can be used to, if you want to like put in very specific rules or requirements, kind of like an algorithmic scan. That's possible to do through Thinkorswim. So that's a pretty cool, powerful feature that's available and that we have used before. One other thing that's worth pointing out is that their support staff is pretty responsive. We prefer ourselves contacting them by email. This is the contact us page from TD Ameritrade, who runs the Thinkorswim software. And you can come down here and you just click this link to send an email, and then they have a form and you kind of indicate what is the topic and just go through those steps to fill out that form. And we found that normally within a day, we can get a response. If you have something urgent that you need, then you can of course contact maybe their 1-800 number. But if you just have a general question, you don't necessarily want to wait on hold that long. We found their email support to be dependable. So that's it. That is our review of Thinkorswim. We really like the desktop version of the platform. If you have questions about Thinkorswim, or if you have questions just in general about the stock market or stocks or options, you can contact us anytime. Our email address is support@stockmarketguides.com.